So I mean, at the time, I was reading, like, Melody Maker and Enemy and Select and Vox. I don't know if you guys remember those magazines, but all the British magazines, and so, yeah, Oasis was, like, on my radar 'cause, all of a sudden it was like, this is a band that everybody's excited about in the UK, but, like, it was really hard to access the music, but then Select put out an issue and it had a cassette, and it had, like, a demo version of Fade Away on it. I'm pretty sure I do not have that cassette anymore, but it was, like, an early version of that song, and that was the first song I heard, and I was like, "This guy's voice is weird," but it had something. I remember being like, "Yeah, okay," and then I was in Chicago for some reason, and there was this bookstore/record slash record store called, I think it was Earwax, and they had a used copy of the Shaker Maker single. And that was very exciting because it was like, it was just hard to get this stuff, and and it was used, and I was like, "Wow, okay." So I bought that, and honestly, like, I don't love that single. I mean, it's got "Do You Wanna Be a Spaceman" on it, and, like, I can't even remember what the other B-sides are. I thought the whole thing was just, like, okay, but, like, Shaker Maker has that Coca-Cola commercial melody to it, which is all I always thought even back then when it came out, I was like, "This is a little corny." But I remember that. I remember reading a review of the Live Forever single and probably Select, and then I couldn't hear that, so I didn't hear that song until the album came out. Then I remember when the album came out, and I went to, the record store, like, 30 minutes from my hometown to get it, and they had 1 copy on CD. So, that's, like, my recollection of kind of the lead up to the release of the record.
Wow, 1 copy. That's insane. And you got the 1 copy. No one else
Yeah.
was in line for it or anything.
There wasn't a line. I mean, I just went, like I think I went I mean, I back in the day, what was it? Like, it was, like, Tuesdays, I think, that records came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday with drop dates,
And I
yeah.
can't remember if I went. I might have gone on the day of release because I knew I really wanted it. I probably did go, but it would have been, like, I don't know, after school somehow got there and, yeah, they had 1 copy.
Were any of your friends at the time of the same mind as you, kinda seeking out new music? And I guess my question is, was Oasis on their radar too, or did you feel like it was just kinda you who knew about the band from your group?
I think there was maybe a couple other friends that were vaguely aware of them, but I think I was probably the most enthusiastic about it. That's not to say that I was, like, the only one in my school, so to speak, but there were definitely not a lot of people, like, on that wavelength because it was pretty niche, like, there weren't a lot of kids that were into that kinda stuff in my high school.
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear did you mention Supersonic? Because that was actually the lead single.
Oh, yeah, yeah, Supersonic. So, I think I did get that single at some point, but the first one I got was Shaker Maker. I mean, it's possible that I heard Supersonic before Shaker Maker, but I don't think I did. I think I heard the Fade Away demo on that cassette, and then I'm pretty sure the next thing I heard was the Shaker Maker single because I found that used copy. I don't really remember when I heard Shaker Maker Supersonic for the first time, which is kinda weird. I should, but
Were these songs being I mean, I'm assuming back then, I mean, I only had the radio. There wasn't blogs, like, the internet was still becoming a thing, it was certainly around, but, you had to have access to it, and I don't even know if there were music sites per se back then. Were they playing these songs on the radio?
there was no internet it wasn't until I was a senior in high school, which would have been 1995 when the internet even became, like, vaguely a thing. So, like, when Definitely Maybe came out, it was pre-internet. At least it was for me. I don't think anybody really had. access. So, like, I don't remember hearing any of their songs on the radio until after they started to take off after the album came out. For sure, none of the singles I heard on the radio. I don't remember seeing any videos on MTV, even, like, do you guys remember Alternative Nation? Is that what it was called?
Ye
Was that the Yeah, that was, like, the late night MTV where they'd play indie stuff. Every once in a
yeah.
while, you would catch something really cool on there, like a Verve song or something, but I don't remember seeing Oasis on there.